behavior, it has affected their social life, it has affected their routine, their activities, the whole world, the connections they had. Hello, everyone. Hi there. Hi there. So everything has been disrupted. How can we help our children at this time, in these disturbing times? We can acknowledge their fears. We can help them differentiate between reality and distortions. Because sometimes you may feel anxious about something because your mind is making you feel that way. So it's very important for your child to know, is this real or is this my mind playing a trick on me? How do you engage your child? How do you listen? You have to listen to your child and keep them busy. These are some of the ways that you can actually help your kids during these pandemic. We also talked about how to instill positive physical and mental activities. You can exercise, you can do social activities, create connections with families, do Zoom time, do FaceTime, to make sure that they are talking to their peers, make sure that they are talking to people who are their own age, and they are able to connect with other kids their own age. And what we also talked about, some of the coping skills. What are some of the coping skills that are required to go through some of these difficulties, how to overcome some of these difficulties. Daniela had given us some strategies, which I will talk about. However, I wanted to talk about the statistics right now during pandemic. It causes spike in anxiety and depression amongst population. For symptoms of anxiety and disorder have gone from 8.2% to 28.2%. Symptoms of depressive disorders have gone from 6.6% to 24.4%. Symptoms of anxiety or depressive disorders have gone from 11% to 33.9%. So it has really gone up, and that is something that cannot be ignored. So I wanted to talk about how anxiety shows itself and shows up in different children. It will manifest in different ways. So there is one type of anxiety is generalized anxiety. Some may have panic disorders. Some may have post-traumatic disorders. Some may have obsessive compulsive disorders, social anxiety disorder, or phobias. These are all 6 types of anxieties that your child may display some symptoms, and you should watch out for that. Now, there is a body's normal response to any situation is anxiety. So what is normal anxiety is your fight or flight syndrome. That, as soon as you see danger, you get alert and your mind tells you, okay, we have a situation. So that's normal. And then there's increased anxiety, where your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, you're perspiring, you're breathing heavy, and you're having muscle tension. Now that's increased anxiety. So these are some of the symptoms that you might see in your child. If you are seeing that, you should take note of that. Now, there are types of anxiety. Like I said, the normal anxiety, which is a motivating force to provide energy to carry out tasks of living. However, acute state of anxiety is when you are you're in danger, and you feel like you're in a crisis, and your body responds to that. The chronic anxiety is that persists over time. You always are anxious, you always are worried about something or the other. Mild anxiety occurs in normal everyday life, increase perception, improve problem solving, manifested by restlessness, irritability, mild tension relieving behavior. So that's the body's natural response. Now, there is something called a generalized anxiety disorder. It has 6 symptoms that if they persist over 6 months, then you should definitely get help. Restlessness, fatigue, poor concentration, you can't concentrate, you're irritated, you're stressed and you're having trouble sleeping, you're sleeping too much or sleeping less, and that means that you might be showing some symptoms of generalized anxiety. And if it persists, keeps on going happening for 6 months, then definitely you should get it checked out. If you're and if your child is showing those symptoms, then definitely you should have them checked out. Now, another thing that is affecting kids these days is sadly depression. It affects their mood, their feelings, their behavior, and physical health. It's not a weakness and it can be treated. Medical disorder with a biological and chemical basis. So there are chemical bases to depression. It will not just go away. So you must seek help for your child if they are showing signs of depression. They're sad, they're sleepy, they're not eating too much, they're eating too much or too less, they're losing weight, they're having insomnia, they're having irritability, they're crying for no reason. And if these persist for more than a week, then definitely should seek professional help for that. Hello there. Okay. Hello there. You wanted to join our live session, perhaps a little later. Compulsion, obsessive compulsive disorders, ritualistic behaviors like washing hands, taking showers. You're anxious about something and you relieve your anxiety by, your compulsion is to wash hands or to clean or to take a shower. If your child is having these repetitive behaviors, it's time to get some help. It's unwanted repetitive behavior, and so there's a obsession about something, and the compulsion is to perhaps like I said, clean, wash your hands repetitively, take a shower over and over again. So if that is a symptom that your child is showing, then you should see someone for that. Panic attack. A panic attack or anxiety attack lasts from 5 to 30 minutes, with symptoms usually peaking at 10 minutes. They may occur during sleep. Many psychiatric disorders have panic attack associated with them. Panic attacks can be triggered by certain situations like driving in the rain, crossing a bridge, being crowded, waiting in a line. It can happen. What do you do when you're having a panic attack? There is a grounding technique that you can do. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You look around. If you're having a panic attack, you're perspiring, you can't breathe, you're having a hard time, you look for 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This will help you ground yourself and help you get out of the panic attack. This is called the grounding technique, and it really helps with the panic disorder. So these are some of the ways that anxiety can show up in children, and these were some of the symptoms that we did talk about. Now, if you are feeling that your child has chronic anxiety, then I would recommend you reach out to the PCP and get a referral to see a therapist, perhaps a professional who can help your child at this time of crisis. There are lifestyle changes that you can make also, create a more happier environment, a healthier environment, be very positive, be active, use your vitamins and supplements, make sure that you are listening to the child, communicating with the child, keeping the child engaged. If they're having problems, listening to their problems. If you are seeing some of these symptoms, do not be afraid. Don't panic. Due to the unpredictability of the times that we are living in, it is okay for children to feel fearful, for them to feel anxious. So it's okay for them, but they need your support. They need you to be strong for them and be their advocate in front of their PCP, getting them help, getting them support. So it is your job as a parent, as an educator, it is your job to see how we can normalize things for them. So, Daniela talked about a few strategies that you can use with your children, and I really like them. They are good for younger kids, middle school, elementary school. She said about a strategy could be making a worry jar. So, in that jar, you write down your worry and you put it in. And then later on, we have a time that we're going to talk about it because we cannot talk about worries all day long. So, what we do is we make a time to go in that jar, take out a worry, talk about it, rip it apart, and throw it away. And now we move on to the next thing. So, that can be a helpful strategy, creating a worry jar and creating a time where we can talk about things that are troubling us or troubling your child or troubling your teen. Having a mindful corner in your house, a corner which is a relaxation corner where you can have some music CDs, or you can have some books, you can have some board games, you can have some squishy toys like a stress ball or a Zen garden or a bonsai tree. A corner which anyone can go and just relax and enjoy. That could be one strategy. Then speaking to your worry, naming your emotion. Hello, sadness. I'm feeling sad. So acknowledging it, saying hi to it, hello, grief. Hello, happiness. Hello, excitement. So naming your emotion is meaning that you're acknowledging it as a part of you and a situation that you may be in right now. And it is temporary and it will pass. She talked about for younger children, considering your negative thoughts, because a lot of times children get worried and fearful about their negative thoughts. She used the acronym automatic negative thoughts. Ant. So she's talked about how can you crush those ants, those negative thoughts. How are we going to crush them? You can write them down. You can tear them apart. You can talk about it. So those are some of the strategies that Daniela had talked about, and I just wanted to share with everyone because our live feed actually was too long, so I couldn't post it to the stories. So I just wanted to do a summary and go over some of the things that we did talk about. Having books that help your child deal with grief, your child deal with, personal conflicts, your child deal with worries. A book that we did talk about is What to Do When You Worry Too Much. It's called What to Do When You Worry Too Much. And it talks about how it's a workbook, so your child can actually fill it out and complete it with you. It talks about how if you feed your worries, that they will grow and grow. So that was a good book, a good resource to go to. Another place that we could go is Common Sense Media. That is a place where you could buy different kinds of books to help your teens, to help your young ones. Now, we also talked about for older children how to engage them by doing some community work. So you can help them get some virtual SSL hours. And in Montgomery County, you can go to the MCPS website, and there are many virtual opportunity. Giving back to the community right now is a special way of engaging and feeling and developing empathy and keeping them busy at the same time. So do check that out. We talked about grief, how, all of us or some of us know someone who's lost someone due to COVID, or we know people who have passed away, or our loved one may have passed away from COVID. Now, this grief is heavy on children. So how do you deal with that? Grief is something that requires time. Grief is something that requires, like I said before, also space. What is grief? Grief is your body's natural way of healthy response to loss. you may be grieving at this time during COVID, someone who has passed away. You are grieving the normalcy of life they used to have. You're grieving losing your friends, losing your daily activities for children. So how can you help someone, a child that's grieving? We did talk about, Daniela and I spoke about this, and some of her suggestions for grief were, let's see, again, giving them the space to heal, giving them the support, giving them the love they require to heal from what they have lost. Taking care of them, giving them vitamins, making sure they're exercising, making sure they're engaging and talking to someone. It's all about human connection. That human connection can really make the difference. And trying to have some kind of routine for your kids, because right now things are, very relaxed at home, so it's easy on the video, and one of them is outschool.com, one is Common Sense Media, one is for MCPS. You can go and get virtual SSL hours. So those are some of the things that we did talk about today in our discussion. Now, also in lifestyle, we talked about, eating healthy foods. We talked about meditating. We talked about prayer. We talked about, having your support system. We talked about doing some exercises. These are all things that are going to help your child stay healthy and physically and emotionally. But at the same time, in some communities, mental health is a taboo topic. So making sure that you don't freak out when your child reach out to you, or you don't freak out if you see your child having some emotional mental issues. Making sure that at that time you be their advocate, you be their support, you be their lifeline, and be there for them, because that's what they need. Be their lifeline and be there for them, because that's what they need at that time. They might need to see a therapist. They might need to be diagnosed. They might need medication. They might need a lifestyle change. They might need you to be their rock. And that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're corresponding with their counselors. You make sure that they have a social environment. Make sure that they are going out and not feeling isolated. So that's how we're going to handle all of this. I'm sure that, we are coming to some kind of resolution to this problem. I hope so. I'm very hopeful and optimistic. We will continue on talking about issues that affect the community, and I hope everyone is being safe. I hope everybody is being healthy and happy and engaged. See you soon. Questions, I will definitely be checking them and getting back to you guys. Thank you so much for joining in today. Hi, Humera. How are you?